Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm making this video because at the time of this recording, pretty much right now, Sim Update 10 for Microsoft Flight Simulator has been released and you're probably downloading it as we speak. Now, since I've been part of the beta since day one, I thought I'd go over some of the settings that I prefer now, particularly for VR, because there has been some big changes, particularly with the advent of Dlss, which stands for Deep Learning Super Sampling. And if you have an Nvidia card, particularly a 30 series card, then you'll be able to sort of check this out and see what your performance is like. Now, I'm not going to do any fancy screens or anything like that. We're just going to crack on and go through my settings, and we'll just start right now. At the moment, I actually really do like DLSS, but just brace yourself if you haven't used it yet in the sim, because it's not quite there yet, particularly for glass panels. And what I mean by that is like the G3000 displays and the GTN 750 displays. They are quite blurry, but we can combat that. Now, why would you even use DLSS? Well, trust me, it really does make a huge difference to frame rate. I'm not going to say the word game changer, but it kind of is for VR, right? To the point where I've even decided to sacrifice a bit of that clarity. Nvidia are working with Asobo to sort of, address some of these issues. And some of this is also to do with Asobo's use of the HTML code for those glass panels. So with that all being said, please, just curb your expectations when it comes to the clarity in the headset. This is my recommended settings. First of all, just try it on your normal TAA setting, because then you can gauge your performance between Sim Update 9 and Sim Update 10. Once you've done that, this is what I recommend personally. Nvidia DLSS set to performance, okay? Now, with that set to performance for Reverb G2 owners, I'd recommend your custom render scale, which is in the OpenXR tools for Windows Mixed Reality. If you don't know where that is, it's in your Microsoft Store. You should have this by now, especially long-time viewers of the channel. You should have this. It's very important. Take motion projection off, just disable it for now, okay? And make sure that your custom render scale, this is for say 3070 cards upwards, just upscale to about 115, 110%, okay? Which I never recommend usually, but that is just to counteract that lack of clarity. Now, with Nvidia DLSS set to performance, you will definitely notice a very nice performance benefit, and the clarity won't be too much of a hard hit. If it is too much of a hard hit, guys, then you can always try balanced and quality. Quality, you'll definitely lose about 5 frames per second or more. In fact, probably as much as 9 frames per second in my test in VR. So there's a huge penalty there. And to be honest, in terms of the clarity, it's not massively different. So I would recommend that, particularly for VARJO Aero owners as well, because I've got this loaded up as well. Resolution quality, well, actually, in Microsoft Flight Simulator now, I have 39 pixels per degree set. I know that's absolutely mad, but 39 pixels per degree is the same thing as oversampling this. Actually, or in fact in this case I'm doing it more. You could always go to 37 pixels per degree if you want to, but the same thing applies. And then again, use DLSS. That is the way I enjoy VR most of the time, particularly if I'm touring VFR, my head's out the window, or I'm using Steam gauges. For sort of real high clarity, I would recommend, okay folks, I'd recommend taking this back to 100% as per normal, with the VARJO Aero, keeping that to 35 pixels per degree and taking this to TAA mode. You could just leave your sim in TAA mode and just knock down the render scale slider. Of course, we've done this before, haven't we? That is still not going to give you the performance boost of DLSS. Absolutely not. However, it will make a difference. Now, just to say, with the VARJO Aero, if for whatever reason, going from 100% to 95 is a big difference. The quality drop off is huge, actually, and then from there it's not as bad. I'm not sure if that's the same with the Reverb or not. I don't think it is actually, but with the Aero you just really notice that quality degradation. Now, for motion reprojection, I wouldn't recommend at the time of recording using it here, because particularly there's an issue with it being saved properly and it's very wobbly, and it actually made me feel a bit sick, and that's me being a VR veteran. Just use the OpenXR development tools as per normal. I wouldn't recommend always on because that can make it too aggressive and induce artifacts. That's just my opinion, folks, and always use preview mode on, because that way this will keep up to date, because there's been some pretty big updates for OpenXR recently. Right, now let's quickly talk about the OpenXR toolkit, and then I'll leave you alone to enjoy Sim Update 10. And we're going to do that. The only way I can do it is to go in VR like this. So if we go to the VARJO Aero, you'll be able to see the mirror. I'm now going to show you what I use. Can you see that? Hopefully. It's a bit grainy, to be honest. But this is what I use in TAA mode, okay? That's basically without DLSS, with the Reverb G2. I have FSR enabled. Now, if you're using DLSS, do not use upscaling, okay? Just take it off completely. Or if you're using DirectX 12, which I wouldn't recommend anyway at the time of recording, don't use the OpenXR toolkit at all. In terms of all this stuff, that is totally up to you, folks. That could be a separate video all on its own. I'm just going to go through a few really heavy hitters, particularly for those of you who don't own a 3090 or 3080. I would recommend taking some of these things down. Then I promise you, I will leave you alone, okay? But this is kind of important. Off-screen terrain pre-caching, that's a heavy hitter. Feel free to knock it down to medium or high, but no more than that, no less than that, sorry, because it's kind of important for VR actually. Buildings, it still remains to be quite a heavy hitter, so I recommend medium or low. Volumetric clouds, this one is a huge impact on frame rate, honestly, and particularly live weather. So, you know, trouble is, medium to high, there's a big graphical difference, but there's also a big frame rate difference as well. Ambient occlusion, take that off, as well as ray march reflections, take that off as well. Even with a 3090 card, just want to recommend it, folks. Hopefully that's of some help to you guys. I know I've kind of gone through that really quickly, but that's mainly for Reverb G2 and VARJO Aero owners. I can do one for the Quest 2 and Pimax 8KX folks out there as well. I just had to get this out because I know some of you are going to be struggling with this new update. Please do let me know in the comments how you're getting on. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye for now.